Now, we just heard that Xi Jinping may visit Russia as soon as this week. He's China's leader. He's also expected to speak to Ukrainian President Zelensky. We need a foreign policy expert, and we've got one, and her name is KT McFarland. The Chinese are really rapidly expanding their diplomatic initiatives. Iran, Saudi Arabia and China organizing a deal. Now Xi Jinping may go to Russia. Is he trying to ace us out of the world's hotspots diplomatically?
Yeah, I mean, in 2 years, Joe Biden has managed to lose the Middle East and probably lose Europe. And here's how they've done it. 2 years ago with the Abraham Accords, so what did Biden do? Well, he insulted the Israelis and the Gulf states by saying, that was Donald Trump's deal, nothing much here. Then secondly, he insulted the Saudis. He's called it a pariah state. He called the head of Saudi Arabia a murderer. They don't want anything to do with him either. And then Iran, he says, well, let's get that nuclear deal back on. And Iran says, we don't need you. We're already on the cusp of nuclear weapons, thanks to the first time you had that Iran nuclear deal. So what happens? China swoops in and cuts deals, oil deals, with all of these countries. So all of a sudden, after 75 years of being the dominant outside player in the Middle East, we're now chopped liver.
Really? Is it that bad? Look, China's brokered this deal, Iran and Saudi Arabia. Are we now literally aced out of the Mideast? Is it that bad?
We are aced out in the sense of for a couple of ways. So the Saudis and the Iranians, historic enemies, who knows if this deal goes anywhere or not, but the Chinese brokered it. So what does that say to the world? Well, America, that's America's role to be the major player in the Middle East, not China. We didn't even think China was in the Middle East. So the world is perceiving this as if the United States has lost the Middle East. I'll tell you, the relationship with all of these countries is far worse with the United States than it was just 2 years ago, and it has historically been. And the Middle East needs to sell its oil to somebody. President Biden has war on American fossil fuels, war on fossil fuels. Who are they going to sell it to? China.
Is it possible that China could arrange some kind of ceasefire, peace deal in Ukraine? I mean, we're told he's going to Russia this week or maybe next week, and he's going to talk to Zelensky. Is he trying to get a peace deal going here?
Yeah, and here's how he's going to do it. So thanks to Biden's war on American fossil fuels, the price of oil and natural gas is very high. As a result of that, Russia has windfall profits. They can fight on forever, but they're running out of weapons. So where do they buy their weapons from? A bunch of places, but what they really need are Chinese weapons. So all of a sudden, China has a big seat at Russia's at the table on this, because they're going to really help determine whether Russia can continue to fight this war forever. On the other hand, the United States is spending $1 billion a year on Ukraine, and we are going along with Ukraine's insistence on unconditional surrender. We want unconditional surrender. Russia's going to be defeated in this. Russia's going to go back in shame. So the Chinese can come in, and here's the deal they cut. They say to the Russians, you go to the negotiating table because, we're going to control your weapons flow. And we also are buying your oil. You don't want to have that endangered. So here's how we're going to pressure you. And then they go to Ukraine and they say to the Ukrainians, well, here's the deal. We could invest. We could rebuild Ukraine after the fighting stops. We could spend $1 trillion to develop Ukraine's agricultural industry, which Chinese historically have real ties to, and all the other resources and all the other industries in Ukraine. So all of a sudden, China is in this amazing position to negotiate a potential deal over the Ukraine war. Meanwhile, where are we? Well, we don't know where we are. I mean, what's the American policy? Unconditional surrender? Negotiation? It's just all over the place. And I think the Chinese have they've run the wagons around Joe Biden, who's always, as Bob Gates, the former Secretary of Defense, said about his own boss. He said, that Joe Biden, he's been wrong on American foreign policy issues for 40 years. Well, he's wrong again.
I'm going to change the subject for a moment. How do you feel the need to change the subject? I want to talk to you about the dangerous drug cartels in Mexico. Senator John Kennedy wants to wipe them out. Roll tape.
They're killing Americans on both sides of the border. And the fact is that the American military could partner with the Mexican military and the Mexican police, and we could wipe out the cartels. But President Lopez Obrador in Mexico refuses to do that. And when Senator Graham and I talked about the issue this year, or this week rather, President Biden said it was a bad idea.
KT, in your opinion, should American soldiers be in Mexico knocking off the cartels?
No, we don't invade Mexico. We should reinforce the border, however, and that may mean bringing in the Guard and the reserves. You know, we now have an open border, and basically it's been control of that border has been ceded to these drug cartels. They're deciding what goes across the border, whether it's people, whether it's drugs. Most worryingly, it's the fentanyl that the Chinese are making and sending over the border, southern border, to go and to kill American kids throughout the country. So first, why don't you just go back to what President Trump did? I know Biden just hates to do anything that Trump did. But number one, how about like reinforcing the border? How about number two, let's have a remain in Mexico policy. And number three, maybe actually revisit building the wall.
Yeah.
But he won't do any of those things. As a result, the problem gets worse and worse and worse.
We're on the back foot all over the world, it seems to me. KT McFarland, thanks very much for being with us this morning. Great stuff today, and we appreciate it. Thank you.